The desert remembers everything except the people it takes. On a blistering June morning in 2021, 24-year-old geologist named Daniel Robinson drove away from his work site in the Sonoran Desert and vanished. Nearly a month later, his Jeep was found overturned in a ravine. His wallet was inside, his phone was inside, his keys were inside. But Daniel was gone. No footprints, no blood, no DNA. Just a wrecked vehicle and a mystery the desert refuses to give back. Where the desert keeps its secrets. The disappearance of Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson was born on January 14th, 1997, in South Carolina. He entered the world without his lower right arm, but those who knew him describe him as a young man who refused to be limited by anything. Friends remember him as gentle, curious, and quietly determined. Daniel was the kind of person who would drop everything to help you. He was loyal to the core. Daniel pursued geology because it challenged him. Long days in rugged terrain, physical demands that would have discouraged many others. He adapted with quiet resilience. He also played the French horn, an instrument that matched his steady, thoughtful nature. Co-workers described him as soft-spoken, intelligent, and deeply observant. He noticed things other people missed. He saw beauty in places most people overlooked. He was 21 years old, young, hopeful, and building a life he was proud of. On June 23, 2021, Daniel arrived at a remote job site near Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road in Arizona to conduct a routine hydrology survey. But something felt different. A co-worker later said Daniel seemed unusually quiet and distracted. He wasn't himself. He seemed distant, like something was weighing on him. Around 9 a.m., Daniel got into his blue Jeep Renegade and drove away, without explanation. He was never seen again. That evening, Daniel's father, David Robinson, received a call saying his son hadn't returned home. When I got the call, I knew something was wrong. My son always checked in. Daniel's sister went to his apartment that night. His car wasn't there. His lights were off. Nothing appeared disturbed. By the next morning, the family knew something was deeply wrong. In the days before his disappearance, Daniel had been communicating with a woman he met while delivering groceries. Daniel believed they were in a relationship. He later told police they were not. On June 22nd, Daniel sent his final known text message. The world can get better, but I'll have to take care all the time I can, or we can, whatever you name it. Those are the last confirmed words we have from him. For nearly a month, there was nothing. Then, on July 19th, 2021, a rancher discovered Daniel's Jeep overturned in a ravine about 4 miles from the work site. Inside were Daniel's wallet, phone, and keys. But there was no blood, no footprints, no sign anyone had walked away. One of Daniel's boots was found underneath the Jeep. Several articles of clothing were scattered nearby. It didn't look like someone had just wrecked and walked off. It looked like it had been sitting there. Daniel had an unopened case of water inside the Jeep. Nobody walks into the desert without water, said the rancher where his Jeep was found. The Jeep's event data recorder revealed something chilling. The vehicle accelerated before plunging into the ravine. There was no braking, no swerving, no evasive action. Even more disturbing, airbag deployed during a prior major impact, and the Jeep was driven an additional 11 miles afterward. Multiple engine restart attempts were recorded, yet investigators found no blood, no DNA, and no biological evidence at all. Daniel's cell phone was found inside the Jeep, intact and untouched. Private investigators later identified injuries in the phone's activity log, suggesting attempted access after the Jeep was already in the ravine. Someone interacted with his digital life after he was gone, said an investigator. Cell phone wasn't the only digital evidence that raised concerns. After Daniel disappeared, irregular activity was also discovered on his laptop. Digital records suggest the computer had been accessed after he went missing. This activity did not match Daniel's known habits, or did it align with a device sitting untouched in an empty apartment? Someone may have entered Daniel's private digital world after he was already gone. Search teams covered miles of desert terrain. Helicopters swept ravines and washes. Human remains were found. None belonged to Daniel. The area west of Buckeye is known for cartel trafficking routes. While no confirmed connection exists, the environment itself adds a chilling layer of context. In a desert where so many are eventually found, Daniel Robinson has never been. Months after Daniel disappeared, law enforcement returned several pieces of evidence from the Jeep directly to Daniel's father. The items were returned without a clear resolution of the case. "I felt like they were closing the case around me," David Robinson said. "I'm not ready to accept that." David has kept the evidence sealed and untouched, stored carefully, preserved like fragments of a story that refuses to resolve. Around the same period, David began raising concerns about Daniel's apartment. There were signs that suggested someone may have entered after David went missing. Items appeared out of place. Digital activity did not align with Daniel's known routines, and timing did not make sense. Taken together, these details introduced another unsettling question. Was Daniel's disappearance confined to the desert, or did it extend into the spaces he left behind? When official searches slowed, Daniel's father didn't stop. A retired Army veteran, David Robinson moved to Arizona and organized his own searches. He walked the desert, hired private investigators, and kept his son's name alive. No father should have to search alone, but I'll keep going until I bring my son home. Despite years of searching, the truth remains hidden. The desert is vast, but the silence around this case is even larger. Somewhere within those miles of sun-struck emptiness lies the truth of what happened to Daniel Robinson. Until the truth surfaces, his story deserves to be told. I wrote this because Daniel's story deserves more than silence. Cases like this often fade from public attention long before the truth is found, and families are left to carry the weight alone. If this story moved you, please consider sharing it. Awareness is sometimes the only tool we have left.
I just want to talk about the Daniel Robinson's Law. I'm really happy to announce that I have done my first interview for this law to pass here in South Carolina. Pushing really hard. We need it done. The Daniel Robinson Law would bring some power to the families and also law enforcement, reduce some of the restrictions they have when it comes to finding missing Americans. And I need your help and I need your support to continue to fight. So I need you to please share as much as you can. Talk about the Daniel Robinson Law, something that we really need.